Hi everyone, I'm Jewel with the J7409 Tropical Update. Before I even get started with Dorian, I want to suggest to everyone this is a tricky girl. Please consult your local weather offices and the National Hurricane Center for more information. As of now, this is the European model. It's set on Sunday around 9 a.m. We're going to have to wait for models to converge together before we're actually going to know where Dorian may come in. But regardless, it's going to be a hurricane, okay? Could be a Cat 2. It may intensify more. It may not. This is what it's looking like. Now, this is the European model. I want to show you the differences. We're going to switch. This is Sunday at 9 a.m. When we switch over to the GFS model, looks like it's taken a more northerly track, has grown in size. You can see, just look at the rain in it. It's still off the coast at Sunday at 9 a.m. on the GFS. Here is the European model one more time. We'll go back down to this right now. I will bring the map down some. I'm going to try to make this less as time consuming as I can. We will go up to around 10 p.m. on Sunday night. You can see here, it's come inland, right smack dab in the middle of Florida. Lots of rain in it, my goodness. Over 3 inches in 3 hours. What about sustained winds? At this time, it will have an eye. You can see it's almost closed off now, not quite as it's looking. 40 mile per hour sustained winds, but what about wind gust? 100 mile per hour wind gust. Now, this is on the European model. As we switch over to the GFS, it's going to be a completely different track, as you can see up here. Still, wind gust, 84 miles per hour. It has it a little bit lower and off the coast of Georgia and Florida. We'll go back to the rain. All right, quick. Lots and lots of rain. A little over 3 inches in 3 hours. So the rain seems to be pretty in contact with what's going on. Let's go over to the European model once again. This is Sunday at 11 p.m. We will go up to 12 hours out, 11 a.m. Monday. It is over in Tampa, according to the European model. Folks, see, we've got to wait for this to converge, but I'm showing you this. So if it takes this track, you'll be ready. Don't mess with it, people. Please. Still got lots of rain in it so far as sustained winds is going. Of course, it's gone over land. If it takes this particular track, and the wind should have died down some, 57 mile per hour. That's sustained wind, so that's like a high-end tropical storm over in the Tampa area by the time it gets to you, if it takes this track. Now, on the GFS model at this time, 11 a.m. on Monday, let's see where it's showing it. It's still off the coast, up here. Everybody from Charleston all the way down, I'd say to Orlando, maybe a little lower down. Everybody, according to the GFS, you need to be aware of what is going on. At this time on the GFS, sustained winds are 51 miles per hour. Looks like they're beginning to come into agreement with gust of winds at 82. This is still a Cat 1 hurricane on the GFS when it comes inland, and it's looking like a Cat 2 on the European side. Dare to say, it really doesn't matter. Everybody needs to go ahead and prepare. When we come up to Monday night around 11 p.m., this is the European model. It shows that it goes out into the Gulf, and this is wind gust in here now of 122 miles per hour. If it takes this track and goes into the Gulf, it is going to blow up immensely. Immensely. So far as sustained winds, you see right in here the sustained winds, they vary around at least 59, probably higher. And let's check out the rain. And I know this is a little lengthy, but everybody, you really need to pay attention. This is almost 4 inches in 3 hours once it gets in the Gulf. If it goes in the Gulf. I'm not saying it's going in the Gulf. These models have not converged. I'm just showing you scenarios, the GFS and the European, as to what they are doing. When we come over to the GFS map for Monday at 12 a.m., midnight, it is still off the coast of Georgia and Florida. Still rain, 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 intensifying. 3.7 inches of rain in 3 hours. The wind, has it died down any? This is sustained winds. Sustained winds, okay? Let's see what they're looking like. 60 miles per hour. The GFS has it more of a high-end tropical storm at this time. But I'm telling you, I think it's going to turn... I think it's going to turn into a hurricane. That's what I think right now. I may change my mind. I may not. But let's go back to the European model. And we're going to hop up to Tuesday noon. Say 1 o'clock. Around lunch. European model. This is sustained winds. Still has it out in the Gulf at this time. What are the winds? 66 miles per hour. Let's see what the wind gusts are. Holy moly. Jesus say it ain't so. 121 mile per hour wind gust. And let's see about the rain right quick. Still got lots and lots of rain in it. As you can see, at this time Tuesday, around lunchtime, where does the GFS model have it? I'm sure it's going to be somewhere way up the coastline here. Still hadn't made a landfall. You can see all of the rain, closely compact, looking like it has an eye at this time. So much rain, so much rain. Getting close to 4 inches of rain in 3 hours. Now we need to check the wind, sustained winds. According to the GFS, this is looking like Savannah could start to feel some sustained winds. Not that much, but enough. 40 mile per hour winds. And the winds are beginning to pick up, of course, in South Carolina as well. What about wind gust at this point? Looking like the center, 82 miles per hour. While we're on the GFS map, we will go ahead and go to Wednesday around 8 a.m. Looking like, according to the GFS map, it may come in, here's the center of circulation, between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. This is not, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I can't repeat that enough. I'm showing you the possibilities. We're going to have to wait and see. It is today's Wednesday. It's going to be late tomorrow, possibly Friday at some point, before we have a general idea exactly of where this may go. So please keep this in mind. This is to help people to prepare if it takes us more northerly course. Sustained winds at this time. What are they? Let's see what we got going on out here. 66 mile per hour winds. Same for the land in between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. What about the rain? Lots of rain going on in these areas here. We'll go over to the European model now at this time. Wednesday around 8 a.m. And this is probably going to be right here around Valdosta, Georgia. You can see this is the rain band, okay? Everybody out in this area is getting whipped around again from Gainesville all around in these areas with more rain bands. More rain bands at this time. What would the wind be? Well, the wind would be very low. These are sustained winds because it's gone through so much land and try to regenerate. That's another possibility that could happen. Sustained winds here is only around 28 miles per hour, and the wind gust, what should they be? They'd be a little bit stronger here. Let's go up in this area right quick. 73 miles per hour. That's almost hurricane gust. So now, at this point on Wednesday morning, the European model has it like a high-end tropical storm. Okay, this is what it's looking like. So while we are over here, we will go back to the rain and the thunder, and we will come up to Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on the European model. It has gone through Georgia, as you can see here. Valdosta, Douglas, Savannah's got rain bands. All these people's got, this is the European model if it continues on the European model track and doesn't take the more northerly turn like it very well could on the GFS. Looking like up in here, you can see all the rain bands here. What would the wind be? Sustained winds at this point are mostly offshore. Mostly offshore with sustained winds at this time, but they're still popping up there. Let's see if we can get this to come on right quick. 50 mile per hour sustained winds are going to be whipping in, so that would cause a lot of beach erosion, a lot of stuff going on. What about wind gust? Well, they're still very, very high. That's going to be whipping around. We can hit anywhere here and see. There's 67. We'll get up there right in here and where the center would be 47. But you can see what's going on, folks. Now, while we're on this is the European model. Let's hop over to the GFS model for Thursday at this time. And it's got it off of my coast, okay? And it looks like the center of circulation is going to be right on the outer banks, and that's going to whip all the stuff in here. Now, this is the, I want to go to the rain model right quick. Where I am, oh good Lord, yes, look at the rain, rain, rain. Let's see what it's looking like. That's not as bad as it could be. Only a little over an inch, so that's what that's going like. We're going to check out sustained winds. Not looking too bad. Most of the sustained winds are out in the ocean at this time. But remember, they're going to keep whipping around. So I'd say from Kitty Hawk to Havelock, down around New Bern. The stuff you have to remember now, it's going to move around. This is just a particular time right now. Sustained winds are 52 miles per hour. Wind gust, let's check these out. 63 miles per hour. A very, very high-end tropical storm. These are the scenarios. These are the scenarios of what it may look like. I've tried to tell everyone and warn everyone now from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. I've showed you the European model and the GFS model. We have to wait till they converge to see which one's going to play out. Now, this morning, this is the latest from the National Hurricane Center, as you can see here. And what do we have? Well, we have EARN, okay? 40 mile per hour winds. The pressure, 1,005 millibars, tracking at 32.5 north, 72.4 west. It's moving northwest at 6 miles per hour. It should stay offshore, but everyone up in the New England area, you're going to get rain out of EARN, and it could cause some flash flooding problems later on for you, so please be aware of that. Now we've got Miss Dorian. Right now, this morning, 60 mile per hour winds. The pressure is 1,003 millibars, tracking at 17.1 north, 64.1 west. It's moving northwest at 13 miles per hour. Here's a quick look at EARN's tracking chart. You can see it's a very tightly knit cone. It should really go in these areas that are pointed out. And by late this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon, right up in this area here, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, you guys could get some heavy rain. I'm not saying all of you will. Depends on how the rain bands go, but some of you surely will. So please be aware of that. And then by early Friday, up in Maine, you guys could get some rain out of Vern also. I'm not going to go with the pictures or the pressures or all of that. Time's ticking down, folks, and what you really need to know is if it's going to intensify and where it may go, not who, what, and where, why. Okay, here we go. This is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. We have hurricane watches all around Puerto Rico here and tropical storm warnings. And as you can see, X marks the spot right here. It's going to go through Puerto Rico, okay? And I'm going to have a link. Click Show More just for the warnings and things to prepare for in Puerto Rico. Click Show More. Scroll down. You'll find that link. Click it. If you're in Puerto Rico, it should help you out to know what to expect and what to do. Now, by Friday, Dorian should become a hurricane. It should remain a hurricane, and as you can see, now the National Hurricane Center has it going a little more to the west, but the cone has spread out up into Georgia, maybe a little of South Carolina here. That means it can go anywhere. That's why we have to wait and see what happens when the European and the GFS, along with the other models, start to converge and show the same thing. So, therefore, Friday, it may be even Saturday, but I'm thinking Friday, we should have a good grip on where this is going and be able to nail it down a little bit better for you. The winds are going to start to increase, looking like it is turning into a Cat 2 hurricane. Within 96 hours, it should become a hurricane in two days at 48 hours out. And it looks like it's maintaining this 100-mile-per-hour wind through 120 hours. Dorian is nearing Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Here are the watches and warnings that are out. We have a hurricane watch in effect for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. You can see the areas right in here under a hurricane watch. Tropical storm warning. Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands. I mean, it keeps on going. And we have a tropical storm watch in effect for the Dominican Republic from Isle of Sayona to Samana. So keep that in mind, all right? Now, what it's looking like for the public advisory. What you guys really need to know. It's looking like the center of Dorian will pass over or near the U.S., British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico later today. Dorian is then forecast to move to the east of the Turks and Caicos and the southeastern Bahamas tomorrow, and near or to the east of the central and northwestern Bahamas by Friday and Saturday. Now, the maximum sustained winds at the present time is 60 miles per hour with higher gusts. But some strengthening is expected today, and Dorian is forecast to be near hurricane strength when it approaches the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Although weakening is possible after Dorian moves across Puerto Rico and the islands, the storm is forecast to strengthen late this week and this weekend while passing near or to the east of the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. Tropical storm force winds now extend out 60 miles. It has grown in size, and it does have some wind gusts that recently has been reported at St. Thomas. That's around 39 miles per hour. Hazards, very important. Everybody needs to pay attention. Rain. Dorian is expected to produce this rain in the westward Leeward Islands from Guadeloupe to St. Nick's to Aguila, 1 to 4 inches. Southern and eastern Puerto Rico and the U.S. British Virgin Islands 4 to 6 with an isolated 10. Northwestern Puerto Rico 1 to 4, Haiti, Dominican Republic 1 to 3, Southern Bahamas 1 to 4, Northern Bahamas 3 to 6, and the Florida Peninsula 4 to 8 inches with isolated 10 inches of rain. So they're thinking maybe at this point it might not take that northerly turn. Who knows? It might not. We're going to have to see, folks. Now, this rain can cause life-threatening flash flooding. So far as the wind goes, these tropical storm conditions are expected, and hurricane conditions are possible in Puerto Rico and other areas of the U.S. Virgin Islands today, while the tropical storm conditions are expected in the British Virgin Islands today, and tropical storm conditions are still possible in portions of the Dominican Republic tonight and tomorrow. Of course, the swells are going to grow, the rip currents are going to grow, there's going to be beach erosion and all of that. You need to please pay attention to what's going on. So, my friends, that's going to wrap it up. We're going to have to wait. We've got to wait for models to converge to pin it down. It's probably going to be late Thursday, maybe Friday before this actually happens. If it's sooner, don't worry. I'll let you know. But one thing I am telling everybody, from the North Carolina coast all the way down the Florida coast and across the state of Florida, portions of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina coastal areas, everybody needs to prepare for whatever may be coming your way, whether it's a high-end tropical storm or a Category 2 hurricane. We need to pay attention. Everybody stay safe. Later this evening, I'll be able during the day to do more work. Later this evening, I'll bring you a new update. In the meantime, everyone, please pay attention to your local weather authorities and the National Hurricane Center. I love you all. Please stay safe. Peace, love, and kindness to each of you. Thanks for watching.